actually take a chance at Mike Tyson not being able to do what he used to do. Because that's what he's doing. The gamble is, like, there's not a chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive.
Joe Rogan just dropped a bombshell on Jake Paul's fight contract with Mike Tyson, and trust me, what he revealed makes this bout sound less like a boxing match and more like a scripted Netflix drama set for a 6-season run.
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight.
Real punches weren't landing in the ring. They were buried deep in a contract thicker than Tyson's legacy. Every jab, slip, and stare down might have been choreographed with more precision than a Broadway musical.
He's fighting big money fights, and it almost seems like that he's like for sure gonna win to keep his record nice, which is like this last guy was.
Yeah.
How did a 57-year-old Mike Tyson end up trading punches with a 27-year-old Jake Paul in the first place? Watching that fight felt less like a sporting event and more like front row seats to a high-budget circus. And now, thanks to Rogan's explosive revelations, it seems the whole thing was more of a business deal than a boxing match. Contracts, performance clauses, and possibly even scripted moves included.
They're not of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever created. Jake Paul, who knows how good he is? He fought one actual boxer and he lost that fight. We don't know how good.
On one side, you have Mike Tyson, boxing's most feared heavyweight, a living legend whose name alone demands respect. On the other, Jake Paul, social media's ultimate disruptor turned boxing's biggest wild card. When this fight was announced, it didn't just shock boxing fans. The entire internet went into meltdown. How could this even be real?
Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson, and I gotta know, you know, like he's a lot younger, he's half his age, and he's training around the clock for the last few years.
People couldn't wrap their heads around it. Tyson, a man who built his legacy by destroying opponents with ferocious power, stepping into the ring with Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer who thrives on making people hate watch his every move. It felt like a crossover event ripped straight from a Hollywood script. And that's where things get really interesting, because some believe it actually was.
The Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script. How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It just
Like scripted in what way?
no, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd.
When whispers of a so-called fight script started circulating, it threw the entire event into chaos. According to the alleged leak, the outcome had been predetermined, complete with specific punches, dramatic knockdowns, and a Hollywood-worthy finale. The idea seemed too wild to believe, until you looked closer. Joe Rogan, no stranger to combat sports controversies, didn't hold back. He dissected the fight with brutal honesty, pointing out moments that felt more like a choreographed action scene than a real boxing match. His take: if there was a script, they sure followed it with suspicious accuracy.
No, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd, bro.
The timing. It's a timing.
I mean,
He
it's
fights
obviously
two-
odd.
No, he fights two no names, beats them both.
Well,
And
the
then-
whole Jake Paul thing is like,
This wasn't the first time celebrity boxing faced accusations of being more WWE than WBC. Jake Paul's fights have always been magnets for controversy, with past opponents hinting at fight fixing and bizarre contract clauses. And while Tyson is a living legend, he's no stranger to making business-savvy moves either. Put those two together, and suddenly, the idea of a scripted fight doesn't seem so far-fetched. The alleged leak outlined key moments: Jake surviving an early onslaught, staging a dramatic comeback, and Tyson losing gracefully to set up a potential rematch. Conveniently, these moments played out almost too perfectly in the actual fight. Rogan didn't outright call it a fix, but his sharp analysis left fans questioning what they had just witnessed.
this, not necessarily Mike Tyson, but it was something like this, like he'd actually get a fight with like Canelo and just get mobbed. Be like, well, of course you lost to Canelo, but get a massive payday. But now it seems like it's this.
Whoa.
This one was really random.
Then there's the business angle, because let's be real, Tyson and Paul are masters of creating viral moments. This fight wasn't just about bragging rights, it was about money, influence, and media dominance. Why settle for a one-time payday when a perfectly staged rivalry could guarantee a rematch, or even a trilogy? Pairing Jake Paul with Mike Tyson wasn't just a fight. It was a calculated business move designed to dominate headlines and shatter pay-per-view records. but for hardcore boxing fans, it was a disaster. To them, the whole thing felt like a circus, a spectacle that mocked the sport they love. Still, even the loudest critics couldn't look away. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul knows how to stay relevant, and Tyson's name still carries an unmatched level of respect. Together, their star power created something bigger than boxing. It was sports entertainment on steroids.
It's like Matt always says, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
no
but
doubt.
you got to take that payday. I mean, what did he make out of that fight? He probably made $10 million or something.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to Joe Rogan's brutal analysis. His deep dive into the fight wasn't just about pointing out suspicious moves. It was about defending the integrity of combat sports. Rogan has spent years breaking down real fights and celebrating true warriors. Watching a bout that felt staged didn't just disappoint him. It struck at the core of everything he stands for. Was it all just a clever marketing stunt? Or was it a legitimate fight that just looked too cinematic to be real? Maybe the truth doesn't even matter. Tyson versus Paul was never just about winning or losing. It was about dominating the cultural conversation. And in that sense, whether scripted or not, they both won. When Jake Paul and Mike Tyson squared off, it wasn't just a fight. It felt like a scripted blockbuster. The bout played out with almost too perfect moments, leaving fans and experts alike asking, was this real boxing or just Hollywood in gloves?
About this, it's not what boxing's about, is it? It's about two fighters of similar ability, training really hard, finding out who the better man is. They're not of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever created.
Watching Mike Tyson lose was a heartbreaking moment for boxing fans. No one ever imagined his legacy would take a hit like this. But just as shocking was Jake Paul's resilience. His ability to absorb punishment, especially against a power puncher like Tyson, raised more than a few eyebrows. Critics pointed out that despite his limited experience, Paul remained unusually composed under pressure, using defensive tactics far beyond his known skill set. Even Joe Rogan found it suspicious, calling out moments where Paul's survival seemed almost perfectly timed. Breaking down the fight in detail, analysts highlighted Tyson's measured pacing, how he appeared to pull his punches at key moments, allowing Paul time to recover and fight back. This wasn't typical Tyson behavior. Historically, he ended fights in the early rounds with ruthless aggression. Rogan also questioned Paul's defensive maneuvers, noting how they seemed strategically precise, almost rehearsed. The entire fight had an air of calculation, leaving many to wonder, was this a true contest, or just another carefully crafted spectacle?
He's younger and he can move his feet around. So again, from round one, nothing surprised me so far. Connects with a quick 1-2 combination, time and the pace slightly off. His punches a fraction slower.
Things got even messier when Joe Rogan dropped a bombshell about the fight's contract. He claimed to have seen excerpts from what he described as an unprecedented agreement between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. If true, this document contained clauses that could completely change how fans viewed the fight. So here's the revelation that has everyone talking. According to Rogan, the Tyson versus Paul contract wasn't just about combat sports. It read more like the script of a Hollywood blockbuster. Yeah, you heard that right. Apparently, there were actual clauses dictating what could and couldn't happen in the ring. One of the most shocking details: Tyson was allegedly prohibited from scoring a knockout after the 5th round. Wait. What? The same man who built his legacy by putting opponents to sleep in record time was now contractually obligated to pull his punches. If that's true, then this wasn't just a fight. It was a carefully controlled production.